sometimes. All right. So make sure I'm recording on my Zoom so I can post this up. And we're live.
That's recording.
Okay, that's good. Well, welcome to the PodOwwll Show, Coach Paul. How are you, my man?
Good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no, I've always wanted to squeeze out some time to chop it up with you because you're very interesting. You always got an infectious smile. Everything that you have to say is always a gold nugget, and I learn every time I come to the meetings and you chime in. I always learn something new. I'm like, Coach Paul is on the coach tip right now. So cool. So let's jump right into it. Tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we'll jump right into the OWL app because, as you know, it's OWL Week. And,
yes.
And this is our second annual OWL Week. We did it last year, and it was a big success. So we're going to do it every year moving forward, and I'm glad I could participate. My liveness with your liveness, and we can chop it up, go down a few rabbit holes, as we say. You're the rabbit hole expert, from what I understand.
We were just talking about that, getting in and getting out of rabbit holes. That's right.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do, and you're located in Toronto, Canada, which
That's
love.
correct.
I've been up there for the Toronto Film Festival, which is an amazing film festival as a filmmaker. And so tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. Do you want me to relate it to OWL and how I use it, or what specifically would you like me to share with you?
No, go into you first. Like, you're, I like to call you my HI member, which is my human intelligence. I have HI and I have AI.
You got it. Okay, a little background to myself. I have leadership experience from the backroom to the boardroom on 4 continents, over 4 decades worth, and I've worked Fortune 100 organizations, startups, family-owned businesses, my own as well. And I learned a lot in those years on how humans do what they do when they do it. I'm also very community-oriented. I volunteered at Ground Zero a week after 9/11. So I know what hell looks like, smells like, tastes like, and feels like. I've had my own journey of darkness, and I'm board certified out of my yin yang. I'm a board certified master coach and trainer in neurolinguistic programming, in timeline therapy, and in hypnotherapy. I certify doctors in hypnotherapy. So what really intrigues me the most, PodOwwll, was this. Why do people do what they do when they do it? And that's when I started to develop work around creating, now world famous, my Get Unstuck Now breakthrough coaching system. And it's deceivingly simple to understand, and it's nearly impossible to put into place, except for those that figured it out. And those are the people I love to work with. So what's the deceptively hard and simple idea? It's this. There are bumps on the road, and there will continue to be bumps on the road. And we are going to continue to get stuck, because getting stuck is normal, but staying stuck is a choice. And that's why my life work is, in the snap of a finger that it takes to make a decision, how do you make a decision whether to stay or to not stay where you happen to be? I'm going to land my plane on one quick idea. We get 90,000 opportunities every single day to make those decisions. Where does 90,000 come from? Snap of a finger is a fraction of a second. Well, there are 86,400 full seconds every single day. And the snap of a finger is only part of one of those. So how many more? Well, more than 90,000 opportunities every single day to make decisions about what works and doesn't work for us, or doesn't work for us. And my motto is how to make the world a better place, one person at a time, starting with myself. Not to be selfish, but so that I can help my friends, my family, my colleagues, my businesses, my community, my world, make the world a better place, one person at a time, starting with ourselves. That's my story.
I love that. That is right on point. Wow. Man, it's cool to listen to someone like you who's an expert, board certified, long on the tooth with the experience of what you do. And, in the comedy world, we call failing forward an opportunity of a lifetime because who gets a chance to experiment with developing your comedic creativity, see where it lands in front of a live audience. And when it doesn't, that's an opportunity for you to figure out how to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to make it funny. And if it doesn't get a laugh again, that's your second fail forward, and your third, and your fourth, and it turns into thousands over years. And it's an opportunity, it's a luxury to have. Think about Einstein in his laboratory, and he probably was going, I got all of this stuff I can experiment to figure out a formula. How cool is that to have the opportunity to
And,
do
and,
that?
and the formula keeps changing. I mean, Lorne Michaels with Saturday Night Live created a concept way back when. They said, "Hey, you want to go live Saturday night at 11:30? That's great, but we're going to do 2 shows before that just to make sure that when we go live at 11:30, we've been through it a couple times."
Exactly. It's so amazing. It's so awesome. And to hear you say, I mean, that's very profound. I will never ever forget that. I'm going to use that in my comedy workshops. It's normal to get stuck, but to unstick yourself is where you what you got to do, where you got to be. You got to be the person to like get out of the sticky situation, and it's normal, and it's going to happen for the rest of your life. Comedy is like that. It's like that when I mean, you pick a box in the stand up comedy industry, whether you're trying to write comedy, you're trying to perform comedy, you're trying to book the comedy, you're trying to meet comedians, agents, managers, producers, directors, you're trying to build your audience base. Like, you get stuck 24/7 through the process, and it never ever ends, no matter how big, how famous, how much money you have. It's just stuckiness is just there all the time. It's like, when is
And
there ever going to
you
be
know
a
what's
relief?
really cool about that? Listen, you're in the comedy business, and I know a couple of things as well. I want you to tell us and our audience about the Forever Zone. Because you know what's really cool in the comedy world is when you find yourself in that place, the world opens up and cool stuff happens when you're in that space. Okay. So, yeah, working in your industry, you've got a really an amazing opportunity every time you get up on stage and are practicing to be up there. I'm in awe of you.
Yeah, no, it is fun. I would love for you to audit my comedy workshop, just to, like, sprinkle in, like, just frantically take some notes of about what I'm doing. And then I would just love to get your opinion on my program, because, you knowing what you know and being who you are, and also knowing comedy industry professionals and being a consumer of comedy itself, you're going to pick all of the nuances, all the things that are good, the things that aren't good, the things that work, the things that don't work. And I would love for you to audit my workshop, when I do one. That would be such an honor.
I accept that. I'm so looking forward to working with you too. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, that's going to be cool. So let's go. Let's dive into it's Owl Week, my brother.
Yes.
So let's dive into some owl. Like, first of all, how did you find it? And when you first got on, what was your take? And how long have you been on the Owl app? So it's a three-part question, but
Sure.
you're on. Go for it.
You know, it's interesting. Owl started, I guess, it's about a year and a half, 2 years ago, just after the COVID thing started. And Jason's got a great story on why he decided to create the app and has actually achieved that. And I'm so proud, as you are, both of us as ambassadors, to be able to help him and to help to grow this amazing app. So I've been on for about a year and a half myself. And like almost all of my business, I don't go looking for opportunities. They find me. And that's a really luxurious place to be. And I wasn't always that way. Remember, I've had my journey of darkness. I know. But when they approached me, it was a couple of the early owl adapters who said, "Hey, Paul, you should be on this thing." And like everybody else, what did we say? Well, what is this thing? It didn't exist. There's been nothing like that. Why should I look at this? And when I looked at it and I realized what Jason had in mind about creating an opportunity for people to connect in the moment when they need to be connecting with somebody in the moment, hey, that's what I'm all about, right? With my Get Unstuck Now breakthrough process, it's all about what do you do in those moments? And here he's created an app that actually does that. So over the last year and a half, I've dabbled more or less, more recently, a lot more, and have brought a lot of people to the app. And I speak very positively about it. And I'm always making suggestions on how to make it even better. In fact, if you were on our Facebook beta group for the Owl app, I put 8 new suggestions in this morning on features that I'd like to see. One of them is simple as I want to use my phone's back button. I don't want to have to keep looking for the back word.
Right. That's cool.
So I think I answered all 3 questions. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, no, you answered all 3 questions. So with the people that you've met and some of the other owls, so you said you've been on from the beginning. So that means you were on like right around the same time that I was on. You might have been on maybe a tad bit before me in the beta phases. So
Yes.
the pre-Android phase of it. And remember there was kind of a wonky step to go through the beta to get to the app, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. Upload, reload, delete, bring it back, all those things. Some of the growing pains of the app. What are some moments that you have that you thought were a really profound moment in the developing of the app, being a part of that journey along the way? Because there were some epiphanies that happened, and we don't always have an opportunity to be on the ground floor and be part of the beta test guinea pigs to flush out a lot of some of the amenities in the app where the latecomers can enjoy the perfect functionality of it and be in awe. What were some of those like moments in that development that gave you that aha?
I'm smiling as you're saying that, PodOwwll, because the word "in the moment" is such a profound way of looking at it. Technology is what technology is. We get that. In the early stages of any beta, whatever the technology is, you don't know from 1 second to the next whether it's going to be up. What was that famous movie? I think Bridge Over the River Kwai, when they're looking out and they go, the bridge is up, and then it gets bombed. No, it ain't. So I mean, recognizing in that fraction of a moment, and you asked about the early stages of the beta when it was learning. When we were on the phone and we were talking to the other experts, we didn't know if we were going to get through our conversation because we didn't know if the app was going to stay up long enough for it. And when it became stable, it became so much better, and we have an amazing app now. But you were asking about the early beta days? Yeah. The question was, we don't know from 1 second to the next if there's actually going to be a person on the other side of the phone, and we've already started talking, but we don't know if they can hear us. We don't know if we can hear them. It was craziness.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was really, really awesome stuff. One of the things that I really got excited about was when we launched on the actual store, and we became out of beta and became an actual app, because I was like gun ho on trying to get ambassadors to sign up, and one of the hurdles, one of the obstacles was that beta sign up was a hand-to-hand combat that you had to go through literally with the person. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, and then a couple times had to go back and forth with Jason. But once we turned that corner, and then it was out of beta mode, you saw the icon and it didn't say beta. You could just click on it and download it.
Yeah.
That was that was an aha moment, because now
it's real. Now it's real.
That was real. Now we're real. Yeah. And then the second epiphany moment for me was when the Android people got a chance to come on. I didn't realize how many Android friends I have. I'm like I'm a dual. I have 2 Android phones and I have 6 Mac devices. I'm primarily a Mac person because I'm in the media business, and I'm in the media consumer. I'm in the media B2B, C2C kind of thing, and the Mac world makes creating content and putting content up and exchanging content a little bit easier. But my world of PC and Androids, it's like, there's that world that, I tap into. And there's some programs that aren't even in the Mac world that you will need for, like 3D modeling or, for some special effects. There's all kinds of industry programs that aren't in the Mac world yet. So when
that's going to be a conversation, by the way, for you and I after today's podcast, because I do exactly the same thing, and I've also got Linux machines in addition to my Macs and to my PCs and my Androids, my iPhones. Yeah,
you get me. We're bros on that one. But when they opened it up for the Android people, that was another now I can reach out to those. I'm like, okay, the Android's finally up. Like, download the app. Okay, what do I do? And they go to the PlayStation store and they see it, click, download it, and clickety click, dingity bing, bada boom, bada bing, and they were in too. So that was a big aha moment for me. And I think did you see that slide?
Yes, I did. Okay. Yeah, with the experts. Yep.
Yeah. So this was one of those campaigns that Jason put together, and I believe this was last year's Owl Week. Now that I'm looking at it, it's August 18th. So that was a year ago.
A year ago, yeah.
Yeah. So that slide was from last year. And I want you to give me a big, giant smile, because I'm going to do a screen grab of us from this year. And I'm going to put this year's slide next to last year's slide. Hold on here. Let me grab my screen grabbing tool. I'll let you know when to smile. Like I have to, because you're like,
yeah, right.
24-hour smile mode. Okay, stand by. All right, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. So I'm gonna add that shot to last year's shot, just to show that, hey, we're a couple of the OGs. I think when Jason was saying I was one of 10 of the OGs, I think he was referring to you as one of those 10 as well.
I think I might have been the second group of that, but yeah, close to it.
Yeah. So when you are doing your pitches to get people on as an ambassador and to get people on as a like an owlet, what are some of your strategies in getting people to download the app?
That's actually a really interesting question, PodOwwll, because there's two sides to the game. And this week, my weekly clubhouse room for my Get Unstuck Now program, I'm devoting to our Owl Week as well, and I'm calling it "How to Earn Serious Money from Your Expertise." And I'm talking about the side hustle perspective of it, because everybody wants to earn more. Everybody doesn't have a lot of time, but we've all got 10 minutes once in a while. Mm-hmm. And the whole concept behind it is you only go and make yourself available for the 10 minutes or whatever it happens to be when you have availability. And that's when the magic happens. And that's been the key attraction to the people I've talked to. And they say, hey, you've got expertise. Why shouldn't you earn something? I haven't got time. No. You got 10 minutes. You can make it work. And once they're in, it works. And for those that don't have expertise, but need access to people who have the expertise, there's no other way to reach these kinds of people. And you don't need to know where they are. You don't need to know what their numbers are. You don't have to book office time. They're in the app and they're available. You just simply click the button and you're talking to them when they're available. How cool is that?
That is very cool.
That's a very easy sell because it benefits everybody on the app. Those who want to talk to the experts and those who are the experts who want to make themselves available to those who want to talk to them.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. And and the fact that you can just come on and just be like, okay, I just want to get information. You can be the sponge. I don't necessarily, I just got out of college. What do I know? I'm not an expert. I'm not an ambassador, but this is a place where I can go and really learn a lot about just
exactly.
Stuff. And then you have the ambassadors, the experts who can like, I have a lot to share. But you know what I've learned as being an ambassador? I'm learning just as much in that Q&A process as the person who calls who wants to pick my brain, because I'm learning how people think about what it is that I do.
Exactly.
And yes, my experience helps me come up with a valuable answer, but at the same time, it's like, I never really thought of that. That's a good question. But the experience and the critical thinking and the common sense and all that kicks in to where whatever the response is going to be something that's a valuable takeaway. But I'm learning as I'm sharing it, even though I've been in this game for 40 years. And that's a pretty exciting thing. It's like every call you get, you're learning something as they're learning something.
Exactly. And you know what's really cool about that too, PodOwwll, is that when you think about it, because this is such new technology and there hasn't been anything really truly like this before, we're on the bleeding. And we're helping to push something new that's helping people to get better at what they want to be getting better at. And that all by itself is good, on top of all the things that you said too.
Yes. Yes. It's very, very cool. Very, very, very good point. So when you, Coach Paul, when you are out in the world and you're doing lectures, do you find yourself just kind of reading the room and reading people and kind of putting people in kind of a like an owl suit on where you think they might fit into your owl ecosystem? I find myself doing that with if I run across a comedy club owner or a headlining comedian or open micer, or even somebody that's outside the industry on how they can fit into the industry. One of the things that I've learned about the owl, Coach Paul, that I think is really, really cool is when I'm teaching my stand-up comedy to my students, and obviously I'm giving them all the tools they need to use to be funny, write funny, learn the industry, to perform, all that fun stuff. You um, find that there is a ecosystem behind the industry performing site that you also need support in: the accountants, the attorneys, your hypnotist, your spiritual counselor, your life coach, um, your writer, your designer, your fashion designer. There is just as much support that you're going to need behind the creative as in front of the creative. And the owl is also one of those. It's like, okay, there's not a whole lot of industry people on the owl yet. There's me, there's one or two other people who are entertainers or producers, but it's not like you're coming here yet to get a ton of advice from the industry other than, less than a handful of people. But you're still going to need support from Coach Paul. You're still going to need support, from Jason, financial advice when you start making. You're still going to need support on a life coach and fitness and your personal trainer and your nutritionalist and your mortgage broker. Like all of that, you can find on the owl. You can put together your HI team, as I call it, and that they can all be from the owl. So that's another thing that I discovered. Is like, wait a minute, yeah, we all are expert in the niche thing, but every single niche profession still needs that support, that HI support.
And just to take it a level further than that too, because you're right about that, PodOwwll, but different than other networking opportunities that are out there. One that comes to mind is one that only allows one person from one profession to be in the group, so there's no competition.
Mm-hmm.
The Owl app is quite the opposite. It says there's lots of room for everybody.
Right.
Why? Because each of us has our unique capabilities. And when somebody gets on the app and they're looking for an expert, let's use you in comedy. You're excellent at what you do and you're world famous and you've made great contributions, but you have a niche that works best for what you do. There can be lots of comedy experts on the app. In my case, with mindset, my specific niche is about getting people unstuck. They're And so when people are looking for expertise, there's no limit to how many the app can support, and all of us can do well.
Yeah, yeah. I really, really love that. I love that a lot. So how did you get connected with all these comedy club owners? That I'm fascinated by that because anybody who is a lover of comedy and who's connected on the industry side, I'm always curious as to how that connection is made.
Absolutely. I happen to enjoy comedy. I don't know how good I am as a comedian. I have a sense of humor, I think. But in my years, over the years, I've had the opportunity to go to a lot of different places to enjoy the world of comedy. In fact, I just told a story the other day about being in the Comedy Cellar in Manhattan years back when the comedian got up on stage and he asked, "Hey, is there anybody here from out of town?" And a whole bunch of people put up their hand and he says, "Yeah, where are you from?" They said, "The Bronx." So I just remember, comedy comes from everywhere. How
Yeah,
simple might that be? But here in Toronto, I mean, Toronto is a mecca for a whole bunch of different places, and I love being here. And listen, you know how many comedians have come from the Toronto area over the
yeah,
years. I mean,
yeah.
I mentioned Lorne Michaels from Saturday Night Live. He's a Torontonian. I mean, there's so many different ways of looking at comedy. Toronto now has 6 different comedy clubs, and they're all doing well. And it just tells you the world needs to smile every once in a while, and people are willing to pay for that. You had mentioned your interest in doing charity functions through comedy as well. I just went to a comedy charity function just the other day. It was for mental health, and it was the first time I've ever been to a comedy show where all of the comedians were in the mental health patient business as patients,
Mm-hmm.
and they were the ones up doing the comedy and
Mm-hmm.
making fun of themselves and the industry and where they're at. And it was just a special show, and it was raising money for the industry too. So it was wonderful.
Yeah, that is so cool. Um, are you involved in some nonprofit foundations that have done comedy benefits in the past that you know of? And if you have, can you tell me what some of those foundations are?
Top of my head, I don't, but I'll tell you some of the ones that I've gone to that I've enjoyed, and I have access to people who do have access. See, a lot of my work, PodOwwll, is in the corporate world where I'm up on stage speaking to significant meetings and conferences to sometimes thousands of people at a time. So when you're in those different industries, community service is a very important part of that. And when you find yourself in a situation where a corporate group is sponsoring an initiative that is helping the community, that's the powerful part. But from a comedy perspective, no, I don't have any direct access to that, but I do have direct access to the corporate people who sponsor those programs. And through that, that's where I could find it out for you.
I'm listening to you, and my brain is always on fire. I have this formula, this idea I want to run by you.
Okay.
All right. We have an American professional stand-up comedy fundraising producer. We have a liaison, you, in Toronto that has relationships with comedy clubs, corporations, and foundations. What if we had 6 clubs, 6 foundations, 6 corporations that did a comedy fundraiser that I could host?
That's cool. And, you can't be at all places at one time, so there would be an online element, I'm sure, to it.
Absolutely.
That sounds cool.
But I'm thinking like 6 nights, 6 clubs, 6 foundations, 6 corporations that sponsor the event. And I just go from one club to the next for a different foundation comedy fundraiser. And I cover the entire city, and every club gets a chance to participate.
You know what? Let's you and I talk about that. Let's see how we can make that work. I like that.
I think that would be awesome. That's a doable thing. Yeah.
Power to you, Guy. That's amazing. Yeah.
But you know what? I just listening to you is where that came up. So I mean, this conversation wouldn't even be happening if I hadn't been paying attention to you, your passion for comedy, what you do, how you're connected, your relationships. It's like the dots connect themselves after a while. And and comics have a saying too: some jokes write themselves, and the first comic to grab it is the one who could stick their flag in the dirt of it. And so we're always listening. We're always, connecting the dots and putting things together. And that just listening to you is where, wow, 6 clubs, you're connected. I got talent and access. This is something that actually could work. I like it. So after this, yeah, let's definitely chop it up, Coach Paul. So in closing, I usually go like an hour because I'm doing so many of these today. I'm kind of keeping them to a half hour. Um, and I want to have you back on and we can go down a few more rabbit holes for sure.
Sure.
But like, what's a closing thought for you that you would have for the OWL app or anybody who's interested? And by all means, give us your promo code so people who are interested in watching this show and they want to download the app, they can use your promo code to get access to it. So um, give me a closing thought on OWL and include your promo code.
I appreciate that. The OWL app, listen, I'm biased, you're biased, we're both in it, we're both ambassadors, so clearly we believe in the concept, but that has come because it works. And we're proud to be part of something that works and is helping it to work for others as well. So the closing comment for the OWL app, we ain't seen nothing yet. It's in its infancy now. It's just starting to really get off the ground. Jason, bless you. You had this idea and this concept, and you've brought it to where it is. And now you've got more people helping you to do it, and it's starting to accelerate. And that's making it even more exciting. And I'm so proud to be part of that. So let's just continue doing what we're doing and scale, because that's where we're at now. Anybody who wants to find out more about me, and it happens to be my code for the OWL app as well, I own the hashtag, as you can see on the screen, @GetUnstuckNow. Put that into any social media you like, pretty much, and you'll find all about me, about my breakthrough process, about the work that I do to coach people through therapeutics and the kinds of things to help them get unstuck. And there aren't too many people in the world that can guarantee their results in writing. I can. And what happens with the OWL app for my code? It's unstuck. And Jason and I had fun with that because we were trying to come up with something that had less than 8 characters on it. Unstuck. That's my code. So when you're in the OWL app and you're getting onto it, and they'll ask you who referred you here, unstuck is my code. And if you want to find out more about me, I think there's a QR code up on this. There it is. Yeah, there's a QR code. That's me. And you can see my logo in the middle of that. It's really cool. It's somebody who's free of a cage, and the cage is fading away because it was never there, except in their story that they had created. And the key to the cage was in their heart the whole time. That's my logo.
I love that. Unstuck. That's a great promo code. And and my promo code is comedy.
Good.
Yeah. So, I'm the guy that cornered that. Maria Georgasian is a director. Her promo code is film. So I love that we are in at such the beginning. And what you say is you ain't seen nothing yet is priceless, because we are in the infancy to the point to where we can be the first ones to grab those instrumental keywords as our promo code, because we're the first in. The million other comics that come in behind us, they can't use comedy as a promo code because the PodOwwll has it. But I love Unstuck.
And just a closing comment about OWL Week. There are so many things that are happening in this particular week, and I don't know if anybody's watching this after we've had this. I think a lot of it is going to be recorded and available to people. It'll still be relevant after the fact, but this week we've got this that you and I are doing now. There's Clubhouse, there's Twitter, there's TikTok. I'm doing a Clubhouse room on Thursday. My weekly Get Unstuck Now podcast on Clubhouse is every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. And this week is devoted to our OWL Week stuff as well, specifically on how to create a side hustle to get money from your expertise using the OWL app. So all of us are doing great stuff, and this is just amazing stuff. So Jason, if you're out there listening, bless you for your concept, for having brought it here. And if I haven't said it yet, I'm really proud to be part of this.
Oh, man. And I am too. I'm proud to have people like you be a part of it, because, the energy and the expertise and the excitement and the enthusiasm, it's infectious. You know, just listening to you sounds like my own inner monologue, and it's a very very cool thing to be a feather on a bird that flocks together, and we're just going to soar. And I like you, am very appreciative of Jason R. Hill, the godfather of the OWL app, and you know, to have that foresight, but to also walk the walk and talk the talk to walk the walk. He put his money where his mouth is. He saw an opportunity to have people really connect. And like you said, his story is a great story, and his story is all of our stories. We all got on Clubhouse in the pandemic, and we all sat in those rooms for 8, 10, 12 hours waiting to go up on the stage, only to have like 20 seconds to say and then get bumped back down in the audience. And it's like, I didn't connect at all, and nobody's connected to me. And so to have that vision to be like, we need something where we can connect. But at the same time, a lot of these people on these Clubhouse, like yourself, who does a room, and like myself, have so much wisdom to share. And you spend 12 hours sharing it, and you walked away not a penny. And to be able to have an opportunity where I'm going to share you some gold for 10 minutes, and depending on what my rate is, I can go out and buy me a Starbucks. And I love that. I love that. That's very cool.
That's an interesting point, too. I want to get that one across. Thank you for bringing that one up. Most of us earn big bucks for the kinds of things that we do on a regular basis. But through the OWL app, we drop our rate down to what, $1 or $2 for 10 minutes? I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
You've got people that are earning many, many hundreds of dollars an hour. I mean, in my case, it's over $1,000 an hour for the work that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And my rate on the OWL app is like $1 for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Why do people do that? 2 reasons. Number one, it's giving back. We don't get that opportunity very often to give something back for 10 minutes. Number 2, it's attracting people who could become clients of ours for all the other stuff that we do, and they'll learn what we do in 10 minutes and decide whether they want us or don't want us. So it's beautiful for everybody.
That is amazing. Yeah. No, it's. I mean, we could go on and on and on, like just the cool, little microscopic amenities of this thing, because you don't recognize, you're not exposed to those until you've kind of been in it long as we have, because we've had the opportunity to learn so many different things about the app, and the experience of it is where you come up with a lot of ideas too. Because think about how many times you reinvent your strategy and your ways to use it, and how you want to do it, and how you want to promote it, and how you want to present yourself, and what you want to get out of other people. You find yourself going through these phases of like, I just want to learn from as many people as I can. And you're just in this absorption mode. You're not trying to promote. You're not trying to push. You're not trying to recruit. You just like, oh, this person looks interesting. Read the bio, and it's like, wow, this is awesome. Let me like tap into this person for a second. And then, next month it'll switch. Like, okay, how many people can I sign up? Or how many ambassadors can I get to be interested in it? Or, how many people can I get on my podcast? Sometimes I'm in podcast mode, and I just want to interview as many ambassadors as I can. Or I want to interview as many people out in the world, but have them come on the PodOwwll and have them be like, oh, what's this PodOwwll thing about? And now I'm doing an infomercial with a guest that I have outside the OWL system. And Coach Paul, it's a cool thing. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. When you're doing what you do, you love what you do. I love podcasting. I love comedy. I love chopping it up with interesting people. I get a chance to do that with the PodOwwll show, whether you're an ambassador or an owlet, or if you're somebody that's never seen the app before. This is all fun times.
You're right about all of that.
So you concur with me. I appreciate that.
Well, I do. And listen, we don't have to, but I mean, the reasons why you and I have come together, there are no coincidences in life. We get that. We don't always understand why things happen, but we know there's a reason for it all. I'm thinking you and I, we met as ambassadors through OWL, maybe for us to be able to connect today on your show to realize, wow, we've got lots of cool opportunities we can do together. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun doing that.
We are going to have a blast. And do you get down to Los Angeles at all?
You know what? I have a son living in San Francisco. I haven't been down in a while, so I'm due for a trip. But during COVID, everybody was, doing Zoom calls.
Right.
So yeah, there's that possibility as well. And I got lots of friends down in La Jolla, south of LA. So I did all the way down to San Diego.
Sweet.
So yeah, I got lots of reasons to be there and haven't in a long time.
That's a beautiful thing. Well, Coach Paul, it's a pleasure and honor to chop it up with you here on the OWL Live Week number 2. And we have got to do this again. We should make this a regular thing. We can come up with some rabbit holes we can go down into and, spend an hour diving down into it and seeing what we come up with. I'm very honored and pleasured and very inspired having you on the show and chopping it up with you. You're an OWL OG.
Likewise, this was wonderful. Thank you so much, PodOwwll. And yeah, you and I are going to make our world a better place together. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it too. Again, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. This has been the PodOwwll podcast live with me, the PodOwwll, and my special guest, Coach Paul. You can find me and all things comedy for what I do at podbrother.com. You can find shows like this on the replay on podbrothernation.com. And anything to do with the PodOwwll or OWL podcast, you can find that on podowwll.com. And if you want to be on my podcast and chop it up with me, and if you even want to be on with Coach Paul and I, we can create another sock puppet spot for you here on the TV, and we can chop it up and go back and forth. So if you want to be on the show with myself and guests like Coach Paul, there's a form on podowwll.com. Fill that in. Let me know what show you want to be on and who you want to be on with, and I can make that happen because I know people. So, Coach Paul, give us a website, give us your last socials, and we'll close it out. And give us your promo code one more time for the OWL.
Promo code for OWL is Unstuck. 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 And my website, getunstucknow.org. And my hashtag, @GetUnstuckNow. Are we getting the sense that Get Unstuck Now is a powerful hashtag?
And you got the QR code on your screen. I love that.
Exactly. That's there too. This was wonderful. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, guys. And for those of you who want to do stand-up comedy, go to pnnacademy.org, and that's where I can make you funny too. Thank you, Coach Paul, Jason, OWL. This has been the PodOwwll. Peace out. We'll see you around the corner. Thank you.
That was a lot of fun. You're good.
You're good.
Now, come on. Comedy is one thing, but to be able to host a podcast and stuff like this, and yeah, you and I, we play off each other very well.
Yeah,
this is good.
I like the banter. Yeah, we got a really good in it. Got a good volley going. All right, my brother. Well, I'm going to reach out to you about the comedy ideas, because I think that would be something that is a very doable thing. Very doable. And even if we did one or two, I think that would be awesome.
You know what? I'm going to, drop a couple of bombs and see what I find out from the comedy clubs and say, hey, what do you do on the charity side? I've got somebody who's interested in doing something, and I'll get a sense for what they're into, and that'll give us a head start when we're ready.
I'll send you my whole Laugh Until It Hurts comedy campaign. And I'll also send you what we're doing with the Parkinson's Foundation for that comedy fundraiser at the Comedy Shack in North Hollywood, July 27th. So that way you got some tools. You got you can wrap your mind around what it is that I do. So when you're kind of dropping some nuggets here and there, you got a full blueprint of what it is that I do, and you'll have all the tools to be able to figure out, okay, how can we make this work, and who can we get involved with doing something like that?
And this other one I went to just recently for mental health, I'll find out who was organizing that, because that specifically was a fundraiser for a cause.
Yeah.
In a comedy club.
Yeah.
So we'll find out.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Have a good rest of the day. Have a good one, as they say. And if it's really good, have two.
2 it is.
This was awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you, brother.